All right, everybody, welcome to the Dangers and Dragons podcast. I am
Oh,
so excited for this one.
absolutely. We are going to be diving into the heart of legendary tales,
Yeah.
heroes and monsters and magic and quests that shape entire worlds.
Right.
And our goal here is really just to bring these stories to life in a way that sparks your imagination.
Exactly.
And of course, I am joined by our lore master, Julia.
Hello, everybody. It's fantastic to be here.
So good to have you back.
Oh, it's so good to be back.
Always ready to, unravel another narrative.
Yes, always.
Before we jump in, a reminder to everybody, if you are enjoying these explorations, please do us a huge favor and rate and follow the Dangers and Dragons podcast.
That's right.
Wherever you get your audio.
Yes, please.
It helps us bring you even more incredible stories.
We love doing this.
We do.
And we want to be able to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today's tale is a little different,
Interesting.
but it still has, it's got that core of unexpected heroism
Of course.
that we love so much.
We're going to be looking at the story of lost teenagers aboard a forgotten ship who become the accidental saviors of a world they don't even remember.
Wow. That's really interesting, just that setup.
I know, right?
It just automatically makes you think, what makes a hero?
Totally.
Are they born into greatness, or can ordinary people rise to extraordinary circumstances?
That's a question we always ask.
Absolutely.
And for this journey, we've got a fascinating combination of sources. We have some excerpts that delve into the art of storytelling itself, like how these epic adventures are crafted.
I love that.
And what makes them work.
So meta.
I know. And then we have the core of our focus today, which is a text called The Forgotten Crew.
Very cool.
So we're going to be looking at the story.
Okay.
But we can also kind of be thinking about
Sure.
the techniques that are being used to draw us in
Right.
and to build that sense of wonder.
Yeah.
So let's paint the picture here. Our logline for today is lost teens on a derelict ship find themselves the unlikely hope for a dying world named Orion, tasked with a mission they know nothing about and carrying the weight of a forgotten past.
You had me at amnesia.
I know, right?
As a listener, I'm already like, wait, who are these kids?
Right.
What happened to them?
Exactly.
What is this world, Orion?
All good questions.
It's such a good hook.
So the story kicks off, and it kicks off with a jolt.
Oh.
Like literally.
Okay.
So imagine this. One of our central figures, Finn, snaps awake in absolute darkness.
Wow.
The only sensations are this groaning of stressed metal and this deep, unsettling, thrumming vibration that seems to be coming from the very heart of the ship.
I don't like that.
No, it's not a bad dream.
Oh, no.
This is the reality
Wow.
of being utterly lost in an unknown place.
That is terrifying.
And our storytelling source mentions how, immediately immersing the reader in the sensory experience
Right.
is crucial for really drawing them in.
Yeah, that sensory overload is so effective.
Yeah.
You're instantly in Finn's perspective,
Right.
like the sounds and the lack of light.
Right.
You're feeling how vulnerable he is.
And trapped.
Right.
And I think our Adventure Guide excerpt also talks about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like how that vulnerability and being trapped
Yeah.
really helps build suspense early on.
Absolutely, yeah.
So soon Finn realizes he's not alone in the dark.
Oh, okay.
He encounters 4 other teenagers.
Okay.
There's Anya, who quickly reveals a knack for technology.
Okay.
Ben, who's physically imposing and understandably wary of their situation.
Sure.
Mina, who displays this fierce determination,
Okay.
even though her voice is trembling.
Okay.
And then there's Kieran, whose outward confidence seems like a carefully constructed mask,
I see.
and all of them are equally lost,
Oh.
equally without memory.
That's a lot of teenagers in one spot with no memory.
I know, right?
Wow.
They exchange names almost instinctively,
Okay.
and it's almost like these simple words
Eh.
act like lifelines in this overwhelming darkness,
Yeah,
which is a powerful image.
it is.
It is.
And it really establishes the character dynamics
Right.
under pressure.
Our storytelling notes talk about this a lot.
Right.
It's like, how do you introduce characters
Yeah,
and quickly get the audience to understand their relationship?
absolutely.
So,
And this immediate forming of a group,
right,
even among strangers, it just speaks to that fundamental human need.
for connection.
Right, for connection in the face of the unknown.
Exactly.
And our lore sources often point to this theme
Totally.
of unity in adversity.
Yes.
That's a cornerstone of a lot of heroic narratives.
It's like we have to come together to overcome this challenge.
Exactly.
So their flashlights become their only weapons against this oppressive gloom.
Okay.
And they cut through the darkness to reveal a ship
Right.
that's far removed from the sleek, futuristic vessels
Okay.
we often picture in sci-fi.
Sure.
This is a vessel of rust and decay, with flickering control panels
Oh, no.
and these unsettling pod-like structures
Interesting.
lining the corridors.
Yeah.
And the description in the Forgotten Crew of these pods
Okay.
is that they're like coffins meant for sleeping giants,
Wow.
which is so evocative.
It's a little creepy,
Yeah.
but it's very evocative.
It is.
Yeah.
Immediately hinting at a grander and perhaps tragic history,
Right.
which is something our storytelling guide says is really important to do early on.
Yes, to have these little hints.
Right.
Yeah.
So it creates that intrigue.
That sense of mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That imagery is so powerful.
It is.
You can almost feel the weight of past events.
Totally.
And the potential danger that still lurks
Yeah.
within the ship.
Makes you wonder about those beings.
Right.
Who might have used those pods and what happened to them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So eventually, drawn by the promise of light and maybe answers,
Sure.
they stumble upon the command deck.
Uh.
But it's not, the pristine high-tech hub you might expect.
Right.
It's a chaotic scene of malfunctioning lights,
Oh.
casting these long, distorted shadows,
Ooh.
and screens are flashing with these fragmented bursts of indecipherable data.
Oh, wow.
And amidst all the warnings and the alien coordinates, one word keeps appearing, echoing across the damaged displays.
And that word is
Orion.
Orion.
And this single word, as our storytelling source would tell us, is the crucial turning point
Okay.
that begins to focus the narrative.
I see how that would work.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer just about being lost
Right.
in space.
It's about a destination.
Right. A specific place.
A world that's clearly in a state of emergency,
Oh, based on the data.
based on that fragmented data
Yeah.
they're seeing.
Right.
And our adventure guide talks about this a lot, too.
Yeah.
The importance of having a clear objective,
Right.
even if the characters don't know what it means yet.
Right.
Like we as the audience or the reader
Yes.
need to know where we're headed.
We need something to focus on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the glimpses they get of Orion from the ship's sensors
Yeah.
are described in the Forgotten Crew as a gut punch.
Oh.
This isn't the vibrant blue marble we often see in these idealized depictions of planets.
Right.
This is a mottled, sickly brown,
Oh.
scarred by these horrifying gashes that look like open wounds of toxic waste.
Oh, wow.
This isn't just a lost world.
Oh, no.
It's a dying one.
Oh.
And somehow these 5 amnesiac teenagers
Right.
are identified in the ship's logs
Yeah.
as the last pathetic hope.
Pathetic hope.
That's what it says.
That is rough.
I
So it
know.
really underscores their lack of preparedness
Right.
and the enormity of what's in front of them.
They're not, an elite team of galactic guardians.
Right.
These are just kids.
Right.
With no memory of who they are or why they're there.
Right.
Suddenly burdened with the potential salvation of a world.
Of a whole world.
Teetering on the brink of collapse.
That's heavy.
It is.
It really is.
And it makes you think about the nature of heroism again.
Totally.
Can the most unlikely individuals become saviors?
Right. Are we all capable of these incredible acts?
That's the question.
Yeah.
So the ship itself reluctantly yields a few more clues,
Okay.
but no easy answers.
Sure.
They discover that this isn't a warship
Okay.
or a pleasure cruiser.
All right.
It's equipped for terraforming,
What?
with banks of dormant seeds and complex machinery designed to alter a planet's environment.
Wow.
And there's this chillingly titled primary directive called Atmospheric Reclamation Protocol.
Atmospheric Reclamation Protocol.
And they start to realize that they aren't soldiers
Okay.
or explorers.
Right.
They're more like
Like what?
interplanetary gardeners,
Oh, wow.
which I think is a fantastic twist.
It is. It really subverts those sci-fi tropes.
Totally.
Yeah. Instead of laser guns and epic space battles,
Right,
their weapons are the tools of cultivation
right.
and ecological restoration.
It's very different.
It is.
And as they delve deeper into the ship's abandoned corridors,
Yeah.
they encounter the silent ghosts of its past.
Oh.
So they find these faded uniforms
Okay.
bearing an unfamiliar emblem like a stylized leaf intertwined with a star.
Interesting.
And then there are these musty journals filled with frantic scientific equations
Oh, wow.
and heartbreaking personal apologies to families left behind light years away.
Ah.
And this devastating truth slowly dawns on them.
What's that?
Orion wasn't just a mission for the previous crew. It was their final, fatal destination.
It's so sad.
I know, and these little personal touches, like the journals are so vital
Right.
for adding that emotional depth to the narrative.
Totally.
Our adventure guy talks about this a lot. You have to have that element of,
It's a human element.
yeah,
Right.
to make us care.
Exactly. You can't just have like spaceships and planets.
Right.
You got to have people.
Exactly. So
Right.
the narrative follows their initial desperate attempts to make sense of their situation.
Sure.
And the ship itself,
Okay.
they work to patch up damaged systems.
Right.
They're trying to coax this ancient temperamental technology back to life,
I can imagine.
all while the ship is hurtling toward this dying world.
Oh, jeez.
It's a tense race against time,
It is.
fueled by their shared amnesia
Okay.
and the growing urgency of Orion's plight.
It's a lot
It's a lot.
for these kids to handle.
And this period of initial struggle is really crucial for character development.
Yeah, definitely.
Our storytelling notes
Yeah.
talk about this all the time.
It's when we really get to see what they're made of.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's through these challenges,
Okay.
the practical day-to-day struggle
Right.
for survival,
Yeah.
that their individual strengths begin to emerge.
Right.
So Ben's physical capabilities prove invaluable
Okay.
when they're repairing the damaged structures.
Makes sense.
Anya's technical aptitude allows her to interface with the ship systems. And Mina's quiet but unwavering resolve
Mm-hmm.
becomes a source of strength for the others.
I like her.
Yeah, she's good.
She sounds cool.
And they start to find a sense of purpose.
Okay.
Not in some grand preordained destiny,
Right.
but in this immediate, pressing need to survive
Sure.
and accomplish this seemingly impossible task.
Yeah, they're just trying to make it moment to moment
They are.
and figure things out.
So when they finally reach Orion,
Okay.
the brutal reality is even more devastating than the ship's data had indicated.
Yikes.
Warning alarms blare throughout the ship
Oh, no.
as they crash land through this toxic atmosphere.
Oh, jeez.
But it's not the sounds of, an alien invasion or something like that.
Right?
It's the death throes of a world choked by its own pollution.
Wow. So they're really going through it.
Yeah, and the adventure guide talks about the importance of escalating the stakes.
Of course.
And this arrival
Right.
certainly does that.
Yeah, that landing is like a mirror of their whole situation. It's not a triumphant arrival of heroes.
Right.
It's this jarring, almost violent
Yes.
encounter with reality.
It's like a slap in the face.
It is.
I mean, just stepping out onto that alien surface
Yeah,
and seeing this poisoned landscape
I bet.
stretching before them, it must have been utterly demoralizing.
Yeah.
And here's where the nature of their mission really comes into focus.
Okay.
Their tools aren't advanced energy weapons.
Right.
They're shovels and nutrient packs.
Shovels and nutrient packs.
Anya isn't cracking enemy codes.
Okay.
She's meticulously analyzing samples of the poisoned soil,
Okay.
desperately trying to find a way to reintroduce life.
Interesting.
Their victories aren't in defeating monstrous creatures,
Right.
but in this small, almost miraculous nurturing of a single fragile green sprout within the ship's quarantined research bay.
That is so powerful.
It is, right?
That contrast between life and death
Yeah,
is amazing.
And it really shows.
Yeah.
And doesn't just tell us the stakes.
Yeah, showing, not telling. That's key.
And Orion continues to throw relentless challenges their way.
Sure.
Unpredictable radiation spikes, crucial equipment malfunctions
Of course.
at the worst possible moments,
Oh, no.
and the constant threat of injury
Jeez.
in this hostile environment.
It sounds awful.
It is.
Wow.
And, they aren't these legendary figures with inherent superpowers.
Right.
They're just ordinary kids
Yeah.
facing extraordinary circumstances,
Right.
fighting for their own survival while simultaneously trying to save a world.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And this vulnerability makes them so relatable,
Absolutely.
and their eventual success is so much more impactful.
Right. Because we, as the reader, we're right there with them.
Exactly. We're going through it with them.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability is key to our investment in their journey.
It is.
Their heroism isn't born of some innate power or destiny,
Right.
but from sheer resilience, ingenuity, and an unwavering refusal to succumb to despair.
Right.
When faced with these insurmountable odds,
It makes their struggle feel real
it does.
and their triumphs all the more meaningful
Yeah.
for us as the listener.
And then comes this pivotal moment,
Okay.
a turning point in the narrative.
Okay.
Through salvaged fragments of long-lost communications,
Okay.
not from their forgotten home planet,
Oh.
but from scattered, abandoned outposts on Orion itself.
Oh, okay.
They begin to hear whispers of something called the Starborn Project.
Starborn Project.
And it's described as this desperate last-ditch undertaking,
Okay.
a ship that vanished without a trace,
Oh.
and this crucial legacy that it was meant to carry.
Oh, wow.
And this revelation really raises the stakes
It does.
and deepens the mystery.
Definitely.
And this is where their forgotten past
Right.
starts to come into sharper focus.
Yeah.
They're not just random survivors who happened upon a derelict ship.
Right.
They're intrinsically connected
Yeah.
to this mission in a profound and deeply personal way.
I like that. It's cool.
The pieces start to fall into place.
Okay.
As they uncover more data,
Right.
they realize that they are the descendants of that original Starborn project.
Wow.
Children selected from dying villages across Earth generations ago,
Oh, wow.
each carrying within their very DNA
What?
the genetic knowledge and skills
Wow.
needed to heal Orion.
That's wild.
It is.
Wow.
So the unassuming Ben,
Right.
turns out he's a descendant of farmers,
Okay.
and his innate understanding of the soil is now vital.
I see.
Anya's knack for technology
Yeah.
is a legacy from generations of engineers.
Of course.
Mina's quiet strength echoes the resilience of those who faced hardship and survived.
Right.
Their seemingly random backgrounds
Yeah.
suddenly have this immense and crucial significance.
That's so cool. Like
Right.
they're meant to be there.
They are.
Wow.
Their amnesia, which initially seemed like a debilitating curse,
Right.
becomes a blank slate
Yeah.
upon which their inherent genetically encoded knowledge can be rediscovered
Cool.
through their actions
Right.
and the urgent needs of Orion.
It's like they're remembering who they are
Yes.
by doing the things they need to do
Exactly.
to save the planet.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful.
But the sheer scale of the task ahead becomes dauntingly clear.
Oh, no.
Anya's painstaking calculations reveal that Orion's recovery won't be a quick fix.
Oh.
It's a project that will likely take decades,
Decades.
perhaps even centuries.
Wow.
The question hangs in the air.
Yeah.
Will they, this current crew, even live to see the world they're trying to save fully restored?
That's a big question.
It is.
Wow.
And this long-term perspective adds this layer of profound responsibility.
Right. Their heroism isn't about immediate victory.
Exactly.
It's about planting those seeds of hope
Yes.
for a future they might never see.
It speaks to a commitment that transcends their own individual lifespans.
That is powerful.
It is.
Wow.
And there's this poignant scene described
Okay.
where Mina finds Finn on the ship's observation deck,
Oh,
and Orion hangs in the distance.
right.
No longer this terrifying brown
Yeah.
scar,
Yeah.
but perhaps holding the faintest glimmer of hope.
Okay.
And there's no regret in Mina's eyes,
Yeah.
just this kind of weary peace.
I see.
And she says something incredibly moving.
What's?
Our kids will have stories to tell.
Wow. That is a beautiful line.
I know, right?
It really encapsulates the long-term vision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've moved beyond their own lost past.
Yeah.
And the immediate challenge is
Yeah.
to envision a future,
Yeah.
this lineage,
Yeah.
inextricably linked to this world.
They've found their purpose.
They have.
Yeah.
Their victory won't be marked by grand monuments built in their lifetime,
Right.
but by the stories their descendants will inherit.
Right. Stories of resilience,
Yeah.
and sacrifice, and healing.
Exactly.
Oh,
There will be no triumphant return to a home they no longer remember,
right.
no grand parade celebrating their victory. Their achievements will be measured in small, incremental improvements.
Okay.
Breaths of slightly cleaner air,
Yeah.
tiny patches of green slowly spreading across the wasteland.
That's still a victory.
It is.
Yeah.
Their legacy won't be written in the distant stars,
Okay.
but etched onto the scarred surface of Orion itself.
Oh.
And that brings us to our final thought for you today.
Okay.
Consider the immense scale
Yeah.
and the deeply personal commitment
Right.
required to undertake a project like the reclamation of a dying world.
Yeah.
What unexpected challenges,
Sure.
both environmental and maybe even social,
Right.
might arise in such a decades-long endeavor?
Yeah. Decades or centuries even.
Exactly.
Wow.
What new forms of courage and
Right.
community
Yeah.
might be forged in the crucible?
That's a good word.
It is of such a long-term, profoundly consequential mission.
It's so hard to wrap your mind around.
It is.
It really is.
Think about the patience,
Yeah.
the inevitable setbacks,
Right.
and the enduring flame of hope
Yeah.
that would be required to see such a monumental task through generation after generation.
It really makes you think about what victory means. Is it always about like a decisive win?
Right.
Or can it be found in that steady dedication to a cause
Yeah,
that lasts longer than our own lifetimes?
it's a good question
It is.
to carry with you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration into the tale of the Forgotten Crew.
Such a good story.
It is right
Yeah.
here on the Dangers and Dragons podcast.
Absolutely.
We hope this story has sparked your imagination.
I hope so.
And don't forget to rate and follow for more legendary adventures every week.
That's right.
Until next time, may your own quests be filled with courage and discovery.